You are lying on your couch right now, staring at a glowing screen, swiping your finger past hundreds of meaningless images and videos, telling yourself that you are just killing a little time. But that is an absolute, terrifying lie. You are not killing time. Time is slowly, silently, and ruthlessly killing you. Every single second that slips through your fingers is a piece of your actual life that has just been amputated and will never, ever be given back to you. We walk around the United States of America completely blind to the reality of our own existence, acting as if we have an infinite reservoir of hours to draw from. You say you are killing an afternoon on the weekend, waiting for the clock to strike 5 at your office, waiting for the next vacation, waiting for the right moment, waiting for your life to finally begin. But while you are waiting, you are bleeding out. The ancient philosopher Seneca, a man who possessed unimaginable wealth and immense power as the richest man in the Roman Empire, looked at the busy, distracted people of his own era and saw this exact same invisible disease. He realized that the greatest tragedy of human existence is not that our lives are too short, but that we squander a massive portion of them on things that simply do not matter. He saw people sweating, running around, exhausting themselves in a frantic state of what he called busy idleness. We guard our physical possessions with iron locks, heavy doors, and security cameras. Yet we leave the vault of our time completely wide open, allowing absolutely anyone and anything to walk in and rob us blind. You would become violently angry if someone scratched your car, and you would never let a stranger walk into your home and steal $500 from your wallet. Yet you willingly let a toxic coworker, a pointless argument on the internet, or a mindless television show steal 5 priceless hours of your day. You do not realize the immense, irreplaceable value of the currency you are throwing away. Seneca asked a question 2,000 years ago that should shake you to your absolute core right now. He asked if you can show him even one person who sets a price on their time, who knows the true worth of a single day, who realizes that every single day they live is a day when they are actively dying. That is the ultimate paradox of your human life. You look at death as this dark, terrifying event waiting for you somewhere in the distant future, a finish line at the end of a long, unpredictable road. You are completely wrong. Death does not lie exclusively ahead of you. Death is heavily concentrated behind you, every single year, every month, every week, and every day that has already passed you by is currently in the firm grip of death. You do not own your childhood anymore. It is dead. You do not own yesterday anymore. It is dead. You are currently sharing this exact present moment with death itself. When you say you are killing time, you are actually handing pieces of your own flesh over to the grave. You complain that you are exhausted, that you are busy, that you have no time to pursue your true purpose or build your inner citadel. But the stark reality is that you are drowning in a self-imposed flood of trivial distractions. You treat your life like a cheap, unlimited commodity, giving it away for free to people who do not actually care about you and to comfortable habits that actively destroy your potential. You sit in gridlocked traffic on the interstate. You stand in line at the grocery store. You scroll through endless digital feeds, and you think you are just passing the minutes. But those minutes are the very substance your life is made of. When you waste them, you are wasting yourself. It is time to wake up and look at the bleeding wound. It is time to stop acting like you are going to live for 3,000 years. Nature has given you a finite number of heartbeats, and every single time your chest thumps, that number permanently decreases by 1. You cannot negotiate for more. You cannot buy them back with all the gold in the world. You can only choose how you will spend the ones that remain. Stop running away from the reality of your own mortality. Stop numbing yourself with the endless, deafening noise of the modern world. The exact moment you truly understand that you are dying right now, is the exact moment you can finally begin to live. Do not let another hour slip into the dark abyss. Close the vault. Stand guard at the heavy iron doors of your own mind. Realize that time is the only thing you truly own, and it is the one thing you can never afford to lose. Look at the driveway outside your window right now. If you own a $50,000 truck or a nice sedan, you lock the doors every single night. If a stranger walked up in broad daylight and dragged a sharp metal key across the paint of your vehicle, you would explode with absolute rage. You would call the police, you would demand justice, and you would feel deeply violated over a superficial scratch on a replaceable piece of machinery. You lock the heavy deadbolt on your front door before you go to sleep because you are terrified that someone might break in and steal your television, your laptop, or your jewelry. You guard these cheap, manufactured physical objects as if they are sacred treasures. Yet, at this exact same moment, you are committing the ultimate, tragic paradox of the modern human condition. You leave the invisible gates of your own mind completely wide open, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do not install a security system for your time. You allow absolutely anyone to walk right into your life and steal your most valuable, irreplaceable asset. Think about a beggar on the street corner asking you for $5. You might ignore him. You might look away and keep walking because you worked hard for your money and you do not want to give it away to a stranger. But then you go into your office and you freely hand over 2 priceless hours of your morning to a toxic coworker who just wants to complain about management and spread negative gossip. You sit in your living room after a long day, and you give away 3 hours of your evening to a glowing screen, watching anonymous people argue about politics or celebrities. You are a fierce miser with your physical cash, hoarding pennies and obsessing over the returns on your retirement accounts. But you are an absolute spendthrift with your actual life. You are throwing $100 bills of time directly out the window into the wind. The Roman philosopher Seneca saw this exact same absurdity in the wealthy elites of his own empire, and he would see it in you today. He noted that people are tight-fisted with their property, but when it comes to wasting time, they are most extravagant with the one and only commodity for which it is actually acceptable to be greedy. Why do you do this? You do this because you suffer from a fundamental, devastating delusion about how the universe operates. You look at your bank account and you see a finite, measurable number, so you protect it. But you look at your calendar and you hallucinate an infinite, endless expanse of days. You do not see the bottom of the barrel, so you scoop out hours and throw them into the dirt, assuming that the barrel will magically refill itself. It will not refill. You are dealing with a strictly limited supply. If you lose your house, you can eventually buy a new one. If you wreck your vehicle, the insurance company will write you a check. But if you waste a single afternoon engaging in a pointless argument on the internet, you can never, ever get that afternoon back. All the wealth in the United States, all the gold sitting in Fort Knox, and all the power of the federal government cannot purchase even 1 extra millisecond of breath once your time is up. The philosopher Epictetus taught that if someone tried to take control of your physical body and hand it over to a passerby, you would fight back with all your physical might. Yet you willingly hand over your mind to anyone who happens to insult you or distract you. You let your neighbors, your bosses, and the random advertisers on your phone dictate how you spend the only thing that actually belongs to you. You are acting like a beggar who has won the lottery but continues to sleep in the gutter because he does not understand the immense value of the winning ticket currently sitting in his pocket. It is time to stop acting like a helpless victim of your circumstances and start taking brutal responsibility for your open doors. You must become ruthless. You must become a fiercely jealous guardian of your own schedule. When someone asks for your time, you must evaluate that request with the exact same intense scrutiny that you would use if they were asking for the keys to your car or the PIN number to your bank account. You must realize that saying yes to a meaningless social event or an hour of mindless scrolling is actively saying no to your own potential, to your own peace of mind, and to the strictly limited number of heartbeats you have left. Close the gates. Lock the heavy doors. Stop giving away pieces of your life to people and distractions that do not care if you live or die. You might be sitting there thinking that it is easy to talk about protecting your time when you do not have bills to pay, a mortgage to maintain, or a demanding boss to satisfy. You might think that the pressure to constantly hustle and sacrifice your hours for money is a modern American burden that ancient philosophers could not possibly understand. But you are completely wrong. Imagine a man who possessed the kind of wealth that would make modern billionaires look like amateurs. Imagine a man who did not just have money, but held the ear of the most powerful and dangerous emperor on the planet. His name was Seneca. He was a political mastermind, a playwright, and one of the wealthiest individuals in the entire Roman Empire. He had sprawling estates, thousands of servants, and unimaginable luxury at his fingertips. You would expect a man in his position to leave behind a secret formula for accumulating limitless wealth or a ruthless strategy for climbing the political ladder. But he did not. When Seneca looked around at the elite members of Roman society, he did not see successful people. He saw miserable, exhausted slaves. He saw politicians and merchants who owned entire fleets of ships and vast tracts of land. Yet they did not own a single minute of their own days. They were constantly running, constantly sweating, constantly bowing to the demands of their ambitions and the expectations of their peers. Seneca realized a terrifying truth that you must accept right now. He realized that money is completely meaningless if your mind is impoverished and your schedule is out of your control. He wrote a powerful warning that should shatter your modern illusions of success. He stated that everything we have belongs to others, and that time alone is truly ours. Nature has put us in possession of this one fleeting, slippery thing, and yet we foolishly let absolutely anyone dispossess us of it. Think about the profound, crushing weight of that realization coming from a man who could literally buy anything in the known world. He could buy palaces, he could buy armies, he could buy the finest entertainment, but he knew with absolute certainty that he could not purchase one single extra heartbeat. He understood that financial wealth is a total illusion if you are bankrupt in time. You think you are doing well because you have a respectable salary, a nice car in the driveway, and a solid credit score. But if you are working 60 hours a week at a job you despise, sacrificing your evenings and your weekends just to buy more things that you do not have the time to actually enjoy, you are utterly impoverished. You are trading a resource that is strictly limited and constantly vanishing for pieces of paper and digital numbers on a screen. Seneca would look at your frantic, overbooked schedule and he would pity you. He would tell you that it is an absolute disgrace to wait until you are old, sick, and tired to finally begin claiming your own life for yourself. He would tell you that putting off your true purpose until you reach the age of retirement is the absolute height of human arrogance. It assumes that you have a signed contract with the universe guaranteeing that you will even wake up tomorrow morning. You do not have a contract. You have no guarantees. You have only this exact second. If the richest man in the ancient world concluded that mountains of gold were worthless compared to the sand falling through the hourglass, why are you trading your sand so cheaply? Why are you selling your unrecoverable hours to people in pursuits that do not actually matter? You must undergo a radical, violent shift in how you measure your own net worth. You must stop looking at your bank statement to see if you are wealthy. You must look directly at your calendar. If your calendar is filled with obligations you hate, superficial social events you do not want to attend, and hours of mindless scrolling that numb your brain, you are deeply in debt. It is time to declare a moral bankruptcy on the absurd expectations of modern society. It is time to start hoarding your seconds like a paranoid miser. True opulence is not having a mansion full of expensive furniture. True opulence is having the absolute freedom to decide exactly what you are going to do with the next hour of your existence. Seneca learned this lesson by navigating the treacherous, deadly waters of a corrupt empire. You must learn it to survive the relentless noise of our modern culture. You must become a billionaire of time, You look at your crowded calendar and you proudly tell yourself that you are not wasting a single second because you are constantly in motion. You wake up at 6 in the morning, grab a large coffee, and merge onto the congested interstate, rushing toward a glass office building where you will spend the next 10 hours trapped in endless meetings. You reply to work emails at midnight. You eat your lunch while staring at a computer screen, and you wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor. You tell your family and your friends that you simply have no time, that you are grinding, that you are hustling to build a better future. But Seneca, the very billionaire we just spoke of, had a brutal name for people who live exactly like you. He did not call them successful, and he certainly did not call them productive. He called them busy idlers. He laughed at the men who ran around the streets of Rome, breathless, sweating, and panicked, thinking they were doing something of massive importance when they were actually achieving absolutely nothing. You are suffering from the exact same delusion right now. You think that because you are moving fast, you are actually going somewhere. But motion does not equal progress. You are running on a treadmill, burning massive amounts of energy, exhausting your mind and your body, but you are staying in the exact same place. Why do you do this? Why do you fill every single gap in your schedule with noise, tasks, and artificial urgency? The truth is incredibly uncomfortable, but you must hear it. You are not busy because the world demands it of you. You are busy because you are absolutely terrified of stopping. Your busyness is not a strategy for success. It is a cowardly escape mechanism. It is a psychological anesthetic that you inject into your own veins every single day, so that you do not have to feel the painful emptiness of your actual existence. Think about what happens when a meeting is canceled, or when your internet connection goes down, or when you are forced to sit in a waiting room without your mobile device. Panic sets in. Your heart rate elevates. You feel an overwhelming urge to check a screen, to make a phone call, to do absolutely anything to avoid sitting in the quiet. You are terrified of silence because silence is the ultimate mirror. If you stop running, if you sit alone in a quiet room, you will be forced to face the stranger looking back at you in the mirror. You are avoiding the only conversation that truly matters, which is the conversation with your own soul. You are behaving like a fugitive, fleeing from the one person you can never truly escape. You will be forced to ask yourself if the job you are sacrificing your life for actually matters, if the people you are trying so desperately to impress actually care about you, and if you are genuinely happy or just numb. You use your 80-hour work week and your endless list of errands as a shield to protect yourself from those terrifying questions. You tell yourself that you will figure out your true purpose later, when things slow down. But things are never going to slow down unless you force them to stop. The great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled the known world, commanded armies, and faced constant crises. Yet he constantly reminded himself to stop spinning around like a top and to deliberately focus only on what was truly essential. If an emperor can find stillness in a military camp, you can find it in your suburban home. You must stop confusing exhaustion with importance. You must realize that spending your entire life responding to the demands of other people is not a virtue. It is a tragic surrender of your sovereignty. You are letting the current of the world drag you down the river, and you are calling it swimming. Step out of the rushing river right now. Stop treating your life like an endless checklist of chores. If you do not learn how to sit still and face your own mind, you will spend your entire existence running from yourself. And you will arrive at the grave completely exhausted, having never actually lived. You run from silence because you are terrified of reaching the grave having never actually lived. But you have a fundamental, catastrophic misunderstanding of what the grave actually is. You have been conditioned by American culture, by Hollywood movies, and by modern hospitals to believe that death is a singular, terrifying event, waiting for you at the absolute end of a very long road. You picture yourself at 80 or 90 years old, lying in a sterile white hospital bed, listening to a heart monitor beep, surrounded by weeping relatives as you take one final, dramatic breath. You look at death as the finish line of a marathon, a dark destination that you are slowly walking toward. Because you believe death is so far away in the distant future, you feel completely justified in wasting your present hours. But the billionaire philosopher Seneca uncovered a dark, terrifying secret about human mortality that shatters this illusion completely. He wrote to his friend that we are entirely wrong to think that death lies ahead of us. The brutal truth is that death is not a destination. Death is a continuous process, and a massive portion of it has already passed you by. Everything that is behind you, all of your past life, is currently in the firm, unbreakable grip of death. Think about it right now. Your childhood, it is completely dead. Your teenage years, they are dead. That summer vacation you took 5 years ago the hour you just spent sitting in gridlocked traffic on the interstate, staring blankly at the bumper of the car in front of you, death has swallowed it whole, and no amount of money or regret will ever bring it back. You are not walking toward death. You are actually dying every single day. Every time the sun sets across the horizon, a piece of your existence is permanently amputated. When you look at an hourglass, you do not say that the sand is running out only when the very last grain falls through the narrow glass. The sand is running out from the exact moment you turn the glass over. Your life is exactly the same. You are losing sand every time you breathe, every time you blink, every time you choose to sit on your couch and scroll mindlessly through a glowing screen. You tell yourself that you will start your real life tomorrow. You tell yourself that you will write that book, start that business, or finally spend quality time with your children when things slow down at the office next year. But you are making a promise with time that you simply do not possess. You are acting like a billionaire of time while you are actually bankrupt. If you truly understood that you are actively dying right at this very second, you would never let another person steal your afternoon. You would never sit in a meaningless corporate meeting and smile politely while someone wastes your irreplaceable life. You would guard your present moment with the ferocity of a soldier defending a fortress. We grieve over funerals and we cry over corpses, but we do not shed a single tear for the years of our own lives that we voluntarily murder through procrastination and laziness. The ancient Stoics realized that the fear of the final moment of death is what makes people weak, but the recognition of the daily death is what makes people incredibly strong. It forces you to wake up. It strips away all of your petty complaints and your shallow ambitions. If you know that you are currently bleeding out, you do not care if someone dislikes your shoes or if your neighbor bought a more expensive television. You care only about stopping the bleeding. You care only about living the exact moment you are in right now with absolute excellence and complete focus. You must stop looking at death as the grim reaper waiting in the distance. You must realize that death is sitting right next to you on the couch, traveling with you in the passenger seat of your car, and watching you as you sleep. It is claiming every second that you let slip away. Stop giving your life to the grave before it is actually time. Reclaim your sand. Understand the supreme value of this exact breath, because it is the only breath you actually own. Because you refuse to accept that death is sitting on the couch next to you, you commit the most arrogant and foolish act a human being can possibly commit. You delay your life. You tell yourself that you will start living tomorrow. You look at your spouse and your children, and you silently promise them that you will finally be present and attentive next year, right after you secure that major promotion or finish that massive project at the office. You tell yourself that when you finally reach the age of 65, when your retirement accounts are fully funded and you move to a quiet house down in Florida or out in the deserts of Arizona, you will finally relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You will finally read the books you bought. You will finally take that trip across the country. You will finally become the person you always wanted to be. Listen to the absolute madness of that plan. By what arrogant, delusional authority Do you make these sweeping promises about a future you cannot see? Do you have a signed contract with the universe that guarantees you will even wake up tomorrow morning? You absolutely do not. You are making massive financial and emotional investments using a currency that you do not actually possess. The billionaire philosopher Seneca looked at the politicians and merchants of Rome who were hoarding their wealth for their old age, and he mocked them mercilessly. He pointed out the supreme absurdity of waiting until you have absolutely no energy left, until your body is failing and your mind is tired, to finally begin the most important work of your life. He asked his friends how they could possibly be so incredibly foolish as to let go of the present moment, which is the only thing you actually own, in exchange for a future that depends entirely on the unpredictable whims of fortune. This is the disease of the deferred life. And it is an absolute epidemic in American culture. We are a nation of people who are perpetually preparing to live, but never actually living. We spend our 20s studying for a career, our 30s and 40s exhausting ourselves to pay a 30-year mortgage, and our 50s worrying about our cholesterol and our pension plans, always keeping our eyes fixed on some imaginary horizon where everything will magically slow down and we will finally be happy. We treat the present moment like a filthy, uncomfortable waiting room at a bustling train station, a miserable place we just have to suffer through until our real life finally arrives. But the brutal reality is that the train is never coming. This waiting room is your entire life. While you are staring out the window dreaming of tomorrow, the precious sand in your hourglass is pouring out onto the floor. You must realize that delaying your life is not a sign of mature discipline or responsible planning. It is a sign of profound psychological cowardice. You are terrified of stepping into the arena right now, so you invent a perfect, imaginary future where you will miraculously possess the courage and the time you lack today. But tomorrow will bring the exact same fears, the exact same excuses, and the exact same distractions. If you cannot find a way to be happy and purposeful while standing in line at the grocery store today, you will not be happy sitting on a beach 20 years from now. You must stop pushing your existence into the future. Seneca warned that the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. You are arranging what lies in the control of destiny and abandoning what lies in your own. Look at the people around you who have surrendered to this trap. They are essentially walking corpses who go through the motions of existing without ever feeling the pulse of life. They actually died in their early 30s, but they will not be officially buried until they are 80 years old. Do not join their ranks. You must rip up the contract you made with tomorrow. You must completely take back your life from the foggy horizon of the future and absolutely demand that it happen right now, in this exact second, long before the sun goes down on your existence. So how do you actually tear up that contract with tomorrow and reclaim the present moment? You must execute a ruthless and unapologetic audit of your own existence. Imagine that you are a high-level corporate accountant hired to investigate a failing business. Except that failing business is your own daily routine in modern America. You must open the ledger of your life and brutally examine exactly where every single second is going. You will be absolutely horrified by the massive level of embezzlement you uncover. You will find that you are handing out your priceless, irreplaceable life savings to people who do not even respect you and to activities that bring you absolutely zero value. The Roman billionaire Seneca told his friends to gather and save their time, which until now had been taken from them, stolen from them, or simply slipped away unnoticed. He pointed out the supreme absurdity of human behavior, noting that people are incredibly tight-fisted when it comes to holding on to their personal property, yet they are recklessly extravagant when it comes to giving away their time. You must fix this immediate imbalance by assigning a massive, uncompromising dollar value to every single hour of your day. If a stranger walked up to you on the sidewalk and demanded that you hand them $500 in cash, you would look at them as if they were completely insane and you would firmly walk away. Yet, When a casual acquaintance invites you to a meaningless social gathering that you absolutely dread attending, you politely say yes. When a toxic coworker wants to complain for 45 minutes by the water cooler about a management problem they refuse to fix, you stand there and willingly listen. You are giving away thousands of dollars worth of your unrecoverable life because you are simply too cowardly to say the two-letter word no. You must realize that saying no to the noise of the world is not an insult to society. It is the ultimate act of profound respect for your own mortality. Every time you say no to an unnecessary distraction, you are violently severing an invisible string that has been pulling you away from your true purpose. You must stop trying to please the mob. You must stop answering every single notification that vibrates in your pocket as if it were a life or death emergency. You must stop attending every superficial event you are invited to just because you suffer from a pathetic fear of missing out. What you are actually missing out on is the creation of your own character and the cultivation of your own peace of mind. The ancient philosopher Epictetus asked his students why they would ever willingly hand over their precious minds to anyone who happens to pass by, allowing those random strangers to leave them disturbed and troubled. He told them to have some shame, and you must feel that exact same burning shame right now. You are leaving the front doors of your mind wide open and letting scavengers loot your mental sanctuary. You must raise the drawbridge immediately. You must construct a heavy iron gate around your personal schedule. If someone wants your time, they must prove that their request is significantly more valuable than the silence, the focus, and the self-improvement you could be practicing on your own. The brutal truth is that 99% of what the outside world offers you is completely worthless. The endless cycle of breaking news, the sensational celebrity gossip, the manufactured political outrage on your glowing screens. All of it is an elaborate trap designed specifically to harvest your attention and sell it for a corporate profit. You are the product being sold, and you are willingly handing over the raw materials of your own life for absolutely free. Stop giving it away right now. Reclaim your sovereign territory. Draw a hard, unyielding line in the sand today and declare to yourself and to the universe that your time is a sacred, strictly finite resource. If you do not brutally protect your own hours, the chaotic world will happily bleed you dry until you reach the grave with absolutely nothing left to give. Once you have locked that heavy iron gate and stopped the chaotic world from stealing your hours, you must make a final, radical move. You must completely step out of the rushing river of modern existence. Look at the people around you in the United States today. They are caught in a violent, unending current. They are tumbling down a river of digital notifications, breaking news, endless consumer desires, and artificial emergencies. They are gasping for air, desperately paddling to keep up with the shifting trends, the volatile stock market, and the heavy expectations of their neighbors. They call this frantic drowning a successful lifestyle. But the ancient Stoic philosophers looked at this turbulent river and realized a profound truth. You cannot find peace while you are being swept away by the current. You cannot find clarity while you are drowning. You must swim to the edge, pull yourself up onto the solid bank, and walk into the quiet sanctuary of your own home. Staying home is not a sign of failure. It is not an act of cowardly retreat. Staying home is the ultimate, heroic act of defiance against the absolute absurdity of the modern rat race. When you close your front door, you are stopping the leak. You are silencing the cacophony of the crowd. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled a massive global empire, yet he wrote in his private journals that you can always find a retreat within your own soul, a place more peaceful and less busy than any mountain cabin or ocean beach. But I must warn you, the first time you try to sit in that quiet room, it will feel like absolute torture. Your modern mind, which has been deeply addicted to constant stimulation, will scream at you. Your ego will tell you that you are missing out on the action, that other people are having fun without you, that you are becoming irrelevant. You will feel a frantic urge to check your mobile device or turn on the television. Do not move. Sit in the chair. Listen to the silence. That panic you feel is simply the withdrawal symptom of a sick soul that has been starved of its own presence. Let it starve. You must treat your mind like a neglected garden. For decades, you have allowed the weeds of envy, the weeds of anxiety, and the suffocating weeds of other people's expectations to grow wild and choke your potential. Now, in the silence, you must pull them out by the roots. You do not need to fly on an airplane from New York to California to find yourself. The ancient philosopher Seneca warned that traveling does not cure the soul, because you always take your own flaws with you. The anxiety simply buys a seat on the airplane and checks into the hotel room right beside you. You must fix the problem from the inside. This is where you realize the most profound truth about human mortality. You do not need a longer life. You just need a deeper life. You have been running a frantic marathon, hoping that if you just move fast enough, you will somehow outrun the ticking clock of your own death, but you cannot outrun it. Instead of trying to stretch your timeline into an impossible future, you must dive infinitely deep into the exact second you are currently living. Confine your entire existence to the present moment. The past is a ghost that has already vanished. The future is a fog that does not exist. All you possess, all you will ever possess, is the breath you are taking right now. When you stop spreading your anxiety across decades of imaginary futures and concentrate all of your formidable strength into this single, isolated present moment, you become completely untouchable. The weight of the world vanishes. You step out of the chaotic river and stand firm on the solid rock of the present. Let the rest of the world drown in their busy idleness. Let them chase the exhausting illusions of wealth and popularity. You will stay behind. You will cultivate the quiet garden of your mind. By mastering the present moment, you conquer the fear of death. Because a person who has truly lived the present moment has already extracted the absolute maximum value from human existence and requires absolutely nothing more from tomorrow. You have spent your entire life believing a massive, universally accepted lie. You have looked at your ticking watch, looked at your calendar, and told yourself that human life is tragically short. The billionaire philosopher Seneca heard this exact same complaint from the politicians and wealthy elites of the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago, and his response was absolutely brutal. He told them that they were completely wrong. Life is not short. We are given a massive, abundant amount of time, an amount that is more than sufficient to accomplish truly great and beautiful things. If only we knew how to invest it properly. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we voluntarily waste a massive amount of it. You pour your precious, unrecoverable hours down the drain of luxury, mindless entertainment, and absolute neglect. You hand your time over to people who do not truly care about you. And you use it to chase things that will not matter at all when you are resting in the grave. Because you squander your wealth on the endless distractions of modern American life, you are eventually driven to the terrifying realization that your life has completely passed you by before you even recognized it was passing. You do not receive a short life. You actively make it short. You are not a helpless victim of time. You are an accessory to its murder. So how do you stop the bleeding? How do you step out of the rushing river of noise and reclaim the actual life that belongs to you? You must make a radical, uncompromising decision right now. You must stop preparing to live. You must realize that the person who is always getting ready to live will never actually experience life. You tell yourself that you will finally be happy when you get that promotion at the corporate office, when you finally pay off your 30-year mortgage, when your children grow up and move out, or when you finally retire to a quiet house in the suburbs. But while you are waiting for that imaginary, perfect future, the present moment is slipping through your fingers and disappearing forever into the silent abyss of eternity. Seneca gave us the ultimate cure for this modern disease of delay. He said that we must prepare our minds as if we have come to the very end of life, that we must postpone absolutely nothing, and that we must balance the books of our life each and every single day. Imagine that you are a business owner closing out the cash register at midnight. You do not leave the accounts unbalanced, hoping to magically fix them next year. You settle them right then and there. You must do the exact same thing with your own soul. When you lay your head on the pillow tonight, you must be able to say that you have lived a complete and total life today. You must not leave any important words unsaid. You must not leave your character undeveloped. You must not leave your peace of mind dependent on the unpredictable sunrise of tomorrow. The person who puts the finishing touches on their life each and every day is never short of time. If the universe grants you a tomorrow, you will receive it as an unexpected, joyous bonus, a free gift that you will live with the exact same intense, unbreakable focus. This is the absolute peak of human existence. It is the profound realization that you do not need 3,000 years to experience the depth of the world. You only need this exact second. Take a hard look at the mirror in your quiet room. Look at the fragile person staring back at you. That person does not have unlimited heartbeats. That person is actively dying right now. Stop acting like you have an infinite reserve of time hidden away in a vault. Cut the invisible strings of distraction that are pulling you away from your true purpose. Stop handing your mind over to the frantic, chaotic mob of the outside world. Retreat into the quiet, impenetrable fortress of your own soul. Examine what truly matters, and discard everything else as worthless trash. You have been given the ultimate weapon against the fear of death, and that weapon is a life fully and completely lived in the present moment. The waiting is over. The excuses are dead. It is time to step onto the battlefield of your own mind and claim your absolute freedom. Do not wait for tomorrow. Live immediately. The illusion of infinite time is finally broken. You now possess the absolute truth from the richest man in Rome. You understand that you are not killing time, but time is ruthlessly killing you. The heavy doors to the vault of your life are firmly locked, and you hold the only key. Do not let another irreplaceable day slip into the silent abyss of the past. If you are ready to stop bleeding out and start living immediately, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this video. Drop a comment below saying I own my time to make your commitment real. Stand guard at your gates and live right now. See you next video.